Fidelity recently announced that it is going to offer fractional shares for its clients. This is a really big news item, but what does it mean for investors like yourself? What does it mean for the future of investing? I'm going to be talking about that and more in this video. Hey guys, Marc Guberti here. We cover dividend investing and self-publishing on this channel and ways to grow your business. So if any of those seem like something that would interest you for the future, definitely make sure you hit subscribe and the notifications bell so you can get more videos just like this one. But fractional shares, Fidelity offering them, this is such a big news item because other apps like Robinhood, they've already been on the game of offering fractional shares. So this is a play by Fidelity to get more younger clients onto their platform, but it also has a lot of ramifications for investors at large because you're going to see a few different things happen now that fractional shares are in play. And speaking of attracting people, if you guys do enjoy this video, I greatly appreciate if you hit that like button because that will help more investors find this video and learn about Fidelity's fractional shares and what it means for the entire market. So let's start very basic, very quick. What are fractional shares? Pretty much fractional shares are just less than one share. So if you see like 0.509 shares of something, that means it's a fractional share. For most people on Fidelity, before Fidelity offered fractional shares, pretty much you would only be able to get those through dividend reinvestment, or if you got into one of their funds, and let's say you put $100 into a fund, that's going to give you fractional shares, because you're not going to get an individual share of a fund. That is exactly $100 in most cases. So in the past, those are two of the main ways people get shares. Splits and other things like that, reverse splits, could impact that number as well. But for the most part, those are the two main ways that most people would end up with fractional shares. So the big benefit of fractional shares is that it lets you jump into any stock right away. So instead of feeling like you had to save up $1,800 to invest in Amazon or whatever it is at the time of you're watching this video, then instead of doing that, you just buy 1/10 of a share now, you buy 1/10 of a share later, or whatever you can do until you have your full share of Amazon. So in that way, fractional shares are really good. And I think when it comes to fractional shares, people are going to look more at the valuation of a stock than the price, because now price is no longer an issue. It's not like people look at Amazon, 1,800, whatever it is, because, you know, hovers around that point as of this video. But people aren't going to look at 1,800 and be like, oh, man, I can't afford that right now. And say you do buy that fractional share, and then it's more of you saying, do I believe this company can go up? It's like price of a share, it being too high is no longer an excuse. So you could look at some of the more expensive shares out there, and instead of thinking you gotta save for like a whole lifetime just to get one of them, you instead buy a fractional share of that company, which allows you to invest in that company now instead of feeling like you have to wait to save up. And then it could work against you where it's like you save up money, but then the company's price goes up higher than the amount of money you save. So you could be in that kind of a situation without the fractional share setup. So it's really good in that regard. And one of the things that I feel like is also going to happen is people are going to care less about the price, because again, you could buy Amazon with a penny now. You could buy Amazon with $1 now instead of having to save up to buy one whole share. So people, I feel like, are now going to look more at return and fundamentals. I don't think that's going to be everyone because that's extremely optimistic, but I do feel like there are going to be more people who think that way instead of feeling like they have to save up just to buy one share or to buy 100 shares of like a more affordable company, just say, look at me, I have 100 shares of something. So I think it's going to help out so much in that regard. Now, one of my concerns with fractional shares, now overall, I think this is a great idea by Fidelity, but one of my overall concerns is that this is increasingly becoming a better atmosphere for day traders. And for day traders, like, you know, you're definitely happy about this if you're a day trader. I just don't like day trading. I don't feel like it's a good investing strategy. Let me know in the comments if you think day trading's good or bad. I'd love to hear from you. But I just don't like the idea of day trading from a return standpoint, but with zero commissions, with fractional shares, it's easier to sell less of a stock. Like again, if you want now, like day trading Amazon suddenly becomes possible because you could buy fractional amounts or you could buy a whole amount and then sell fractional amounts of your shares to participate in day trading in that regard. And it's not just Amazon, it's also Google, it's also Facebook, it's whatever company you can think of. The fractional shares definitely make it easier to jump in that day trading. So this is definitely a big win if you do like to day trade, but I just don't like an environment that strongly encourages day trading. I'm more of a buy dividend stocks, hold on to them for the long term and watch the dividend grow, watch the appreciation happen. I cover this a lot more in my book where I talk about how you can retire early through dividend investing, some of the math behind that. I've also done a video on how to make $100,000 per year dividend investing, just the math behind that. So I'm more of a long-term play individual than a day trade. So this may just be like a personal thing, but like based on my investing strategy. But I think that is a concern that you have to look at because I can see people just getting started with Fidelity or investing in general, really thinking about day trading, really thinking about like, oh, you have to like a super high return one day and maybe you get lucky one day or whatever. And then you just think day trading is the way to go. And it's not a long-term sustainable strategy, especially since you are relying on timing the market when it comes to that strategy. So we have the fractional shares, we have zero commissions, and I don't think that Fidelity, Schwab, and the others stop at this because Robinhood and those other ones, like those were the standards. Those were like the new wave. And you could see it because those apps, those brokerage options have attracted a lot of young people. And Fidelity and all the other ones, they want young people on their platforms. They want that next generation. So that's one of the reasons behind this initiative. But I could see Fidelity and others offering more options similar to Robinhood. I mean, I know Robinhood right now, for instance, my link's going to be in the description, but one of the things that they let you do is if you refer one of your friends through Robinhood, they get a free stock, you get a free stock. And I could see companies like Fidelity doing something like this in the future because I just feel like they're going to maintain their model while at the same time integrating some of the additional things from these apps. We've already seen it with fractional shares and some of the other recent news, such as the zero commissions. But I don't think this is the end of the updating. I feel like, and again, like just because Robinhood has these different things going for it, doesn't mean like a Fidelity or a Schwab or someone else doesn't come up with a new innovation. So I definitely feel like we've got more updates on the way. I mean, just the fact alone of like now being able to trade fractional shares is such a big deal on Fidelity. And you can imagine like all the other ones or brokerage are eventually going to follow that same path because they want to stay relevant. They want to stay competitive. And the fractional shares is going to be a way to make that happen. And when you think about it, a company copying another company and just rolling some of their new features into their existing platform isn't something we have not heard of. And it is very common. And I can see that happening more in the financial space as well. So overall, I think this is going to be a very big change to the market and how people invest. And I think this is going to be a really exciting change as Fidelity embraces this model and as investors start to embrace the model as well. I mean, it is exciting now. You don't have to sell your house to buy into Berkshire Hathaway Class A anymore. You could buy, instead of one share, maybe you start with 1,000th of a share. But you don't have to sell your house anymore to get started in that company, in that stock. So anyways, I do hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you want more dividend investing, also business strategy around like self-publishing, stuff like that, definitely make sure you hit the subscribe and notifications bell. And I would love to hear from you in the comments what you think about Fidelity offering fractional shares to its clients and just any other thoughts you have, because I do love hearing from you guys. So signing off, dream big, achieve greatness, unlock your potential today.